Greetings to all. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Myself Sanchita Sanand, a first-year law student from Golgotia's University and currently working as a legal intern at LEXIS and Company. So today I'm going to talk about PoSH Act. You all might have been aware of this act, and if not, then this video might help you. The sexual harassment of women at workplace, that is Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act of 2013, which is commonly known as the PoSH Act, is an Indian law enacted with the objective of making workplaces safer for women by preventing, prohibiting and redressing acts of sexual harassment against them in the workplace. The law was made effective in the whole of India on 9th of December 2013 by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Now, what is this sexual harassment under the Act? Section 2, Clause N of the Act defines sexual harassment to include the following unwelcome acts. Now, what are these acts? First of all, physical contact and sexual advances. Then, a demand or request for sexual favors, making sexually colored remarks, any other unwelcome physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. So these acts may be considered unwelcome if the woman expresses her discomfort upon the commission of these acts or does not give any consent to them. Additionally, the following circumstances may amount to sexual harassment if they are connected with any of the acts or behavior as mentioned above. First of all, the implied or explicit promise of preferential treatment in employment. These are the circumstances which may amount to sexual harassment. Then the second one is the implied or explicit threat of detrimental treatment in employment. Implied or explicit threat about present or future employment status, interference with work, or creating an intimidating or offensive or hostile work environment, humiliating treatment likely to affect health or safety. This leads to the question, what is a workplace for the purposes of this act? So section 2 of this act, that is this PoSH Act, defines the term workplace to include, that is, any department, organization, undertaking, establishment, institution, enterprise, office, branch or unit which is established, owned, controlled or funded either by the government or local authority such as a municipal corporation, a government corporation or a government-run cooperative society. Then any private sector, so all this was included in the government sector. Now when it comes to private sector, so any private sector organization, private venture, undertaking, enterprise, institution, establishment, society, trust, and even non-governmental organization or a service provider that carries out commercial, professional, vocational, educational, entertainment, industrial, financial or health related activities. And then comes the housing and hospitals and the nursing homes, sport institutes, stadiums, sports complexes and competition venues that may be used for training, sports or any other related activities. Any place which is visited by an employee arising out of during the course of their employment. This includes any transportation service which is provided by the employer for visiting any such place, a house or any domestic dwelling, any enterprise commonly said to belong to the unorganized sector which is owned by individual or self-employed workers and engaged in the protection of sale of goods or services. All these come under the definition of workplace under the PoSH Act. So what does the PoSH Act mandate? Provision of a safe working environment in the workplace. So the PoSH Act make employers responsible for ensuring that the workplace is safe for its employees. So in this regard, they must employ measures to ensure that their employees are safe from both employees and non-employees who might enter the workplace. This mandate is not limited to the official workplace. It also includes any vehicles which is used by the company, and if any third party sites visited by the employees. Then is the constitution of an internal committee in every workplace with more than 10 employees. So the internal committee is one of the two redressal bodies under the PoSH Act. Any employer of a workplace with 10 or more employees is required to constitute an IC, that is an internal committee. The internal committee is responsible for hearing and redressing any complaints regarding or pertaining to sexual harassment in such workplace. Third is the constitution of the local committee in every district. While only workplaces with 10 or more employees are required to constitute the internal committees, this does not mean that women working at all other workplaces do not get protection under the PoSH. So the PoSH Act also requires the constitution of a local committee in every district which is responsible for hearing and redressing complaints of sexual harassment from workplaces that may have fewer than 10 employees. The local committee also redresses complaints in the case such complaint is against the employer of a workplace themselves. Then is an in-depth inquiry into all companies of sexual harassment. Now, the creation of these internal committees or these local committees, as the case may be, is required to conduct an inquiry into every complaint of sexual harassment in accordance with the provisions of the service rules applicable to the respondent within 90 days from the submission of the complaint. So upon the completion of an inquiry, the internal committee or the local committee is required to prepare a report of its findings. And if the allegations of sexual harassment are proved, then the internal committee as well as the local committee may recommend the employer or the district officer to take action against the accused. Then is the organization of workshops and awareness programs at regular intervals for sensitizing the employees with the provisions of this act. So the PoSH Act places a duty upon each employer to organize periodic sensitization workshops for all their employees so that they are well versed with the provisions of the act, the organization's redressal procedures, and the consequences of engaging in acts that constitute sexual harassment. Such workshops or training sessions must be organized by individuals who are experts or experienced in PoSH sensitization. Then punishment for false and malicious complaint and even false evidence. So the PoSH Act takes into cognizance false and malicious complaints and provides for strict action against them. So if the internal committee or the local committee finds that an allegation of sexual harassment is false, then it can also recommend the employer or the district officer to take action against the woman or the person who has made the complaint in accordance with the provisions of the service rules which are applicable to them. This act is basically the reflection of society and definitely a step forward towards guarding the interest of not only women in the workplace and simultaneously making a safe environment where you don't have to worry at least about your safety. Being a woman, as I make this video, I hope that no one has to ever go through such kind of harassment. At the end, I would like to say that though the Indian judiciary is there to create and develop any new laws for such kind of harassment, but at the end, what matters is basically the mindset and the attitude, and moreover the respect what you have, not only for women but for the opposite gender also. So this was all about the PoSH Act. Thank you so much for devoting your time and listening to my video. If my video was really informative, and even if it gave you a little information about what is PoSH Act, then please like, share and comment. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel Lexcliq for more upcoming such informative videos. Thank you so much and have a nice day.